It's the time of the year when pumpkins might be on your mind. We're at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center, next to the babbling brook that you might hear. Us being me and Andy McDonald, Sacramento County Master Gardener, Chef Extraordinaire, with a recipe for maybe some pumpkins you might have handy. Curried pumpkin soup. That sounds good, except for the curry part.
Well, no, curry's good. You just have to be easy with it and get the right kind.
Well, tell us about that then.
Okay, so for this recipe, I use the jarred curry paste. But when you get any kind of curry, any kind, powdered or paste, what you need to do is taste it first, determine its level of heat and your tolerance for that. Start small because you can always add more, but you can't take it away.
Okay, so there's nothing you could cut it with once you've done the deed.
You would just have to double your soup.
Does this require a special pumpkin?
Okay, this is how it works.
All right.
The pies, the pumpkin that are marketed for pumpkin pies, to me, are a bit watery and they don't have as much of a flavor to them that, say, you might get from the Libby's canned pumpkin. So I looked into this. Libby's canned pumpkin is not made with the pumpkins that we think of as pie pumpkins. They use something that's closer to a kabocha squash. So what I do is I use pie pumpkins for this, and I also use kabocha squash for this, and I use butternut squash. I combine the three, and I find it has a better flavor. And I've also found that to be true if you want to make a pie from scratch, to use that combination.
Kabocha squash, do you grow it?
I don't personally, but I could.
Okay, so it is growable and it's a winter squash.
It's a winter squash. Oh yeah, and it's available at the markets. It's a common squash.
Okay, kabocha. I need to expand my horizons.
Oh, it's a wonderful flavor.
Okay, what does it look like?
It's round but squatty and has a green exterior.
Okay, I think I've seen it then.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No doubt.
So back to the recipe for curried pumpkin soup. So the pumpkin then could be a pumpkin you had grown?
Yes, it can. In fact, the soup that I'm serving today, I grew I didn't grow the kabocha, but I grew the butternut.
All right. So there's butternut squash, the kabocha, and the pumpkin. And was it a canned pumpkin?
No, I didn't do canned. I actually used a little pumpkin that I bought at the grocery store.
By little pumpkin, do you mean the minis?
No, not that many. And by the way, don't ever put those in your compost.
Tell us why.
Well, because they will grow, and you'll have thousands of them in your wherever you put your compost. Okay. That's a side story. Okay, so it was marketed as a pie pumpkin, and it was probably about 8 inches across, maybe.
All right, so actually that's a nice size to grow in the backyard.
Yes, it is. It would be. It would be, because it wouldn't be too big. Couldn't make a jack-o'-lantern with it, but you can eat it. They just sell them as pie pumpkins. Oh, sometimes they're called sweet something or other, because anything tiny they use the word sweet with it.
And we'll have a list and show notes of the pumpkin varieties that would be best for this recipe.
Perfect.
So take us through the recipe.
Okay, so what I do is I start with a mirepoix, which is a fancy word for onions, carrots, and celery. Mm-hmm. And those are diced up pretty small, and I saute them until they are soft, and then add some garlic and some dry white wine and cook that down a little bit. And then I add vegetable stock. This time I made my own vegetable stock, and for this particular soup, with the butternut squash, it has a neck that's very meaty. Then the bulby part has seeds in it. I cut off that part, chop that up, and that goes into my stock, along with the seeds for that. And so it gives it a more pumpkin-y flavor. It's more distinct. So I do that with my stock, and I also add shiitake mushrooms because it gives a kind of an umami-ness to it. I strain that out. I add curry paste and the pumpkin puree, which is that combination of different squashes.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Puree that in a blender, and then I add coconut milk to it because this is a vegan dish. Then and of course the curry paste. Cook it for about 30 minutes or so. Taste it, see if you need to add more curry or if you need to add salt and pepper, and adjust it according to your taste. Very simple.
My wife that has this inordinate hatred of coconut for whatever reason, could I substitute almond milk?
You could do that. Almond milk is a little more watery, I think. Oat milk tends to be a little bit thicker, or cashew milk. Those are a little bit thicker. And you could even omit the milk altogether. I like it for the creaminess and the fact that, coconut milk is high in fat and it tends to cut. It goes well with the curry.
Now, you mentioned putting the seeds in the stalk of the pumpkin. At some point, do you take them out?
Yeah, I strain the stalk. So all of it. Because I also don't peel. I don't peel that part of the butternut squash that goes in there. And you wouldn't want to eat that. So no, I strain the stalk. So it's just liquid.
We're talking cooking basics here.
Yeah, we are. And then, but I do garnish the soup with toasted pumpkin seeds that, of course, have been shelled, and chopped parsley.
What is your recipe for toasted pumpkin seeds?
Oh, very simple. I buy the pumpkin seeds already hulled, and because it would be very tedious to try to do that myself. And then I just pop them in the oven for like a 350-degree oven for 5 to 10 minutes. You check them a lot because they can burn really fast. That's all you need to do.
Do you need to put parchment paper on a cookie sheet to do that?
You can do that, but I don't always do that.
Okay. So check them to make sure they don't burn.
Yes, because they will burn in a heartbeat.
So like 5 minutes max?
I check them after 5 minutes. Sometimes they need to go a little bit longer. Shake the pan around. You can also do them on top of the stove, like in a dry skillet. But again, just keep your eye on it and keep the nuts moving if you do it on top of the stove.
So the biggest warning with this recipe is taste the curry first.
Yes, I think so. And start small because, like I said, you can always add more.
Mm-hmm. All right. It's curried pumpkin soup. We'll have the recipe in today's show notes. Curried pumpkin soup from Master Gardener and Chef Extraordinaire Andy McDonald. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.